Hello and welcome back to Football Manager 2019 with Botev Plovdiv. It is the end of the season, so this is going to be a little season review episode. We have our end of season awards have come in. If you missed the last episode, the big bumper episode of 3 and a bit matches, you'll know, or you won't know because you missed it, we finished second, again, for the second season in a row. It was basically all down to the fact that we couldn't really put away Sarko Salo, and Alan Cherry ballsed up a cross against Ludogorets, which made us lose 3 points as well. So jumping straight into the awards first then, Nedlev has won Player of the Season. The Bulgarian Player of the Season goes to Todor Nedlev, an average rating of 7.36. Considering he had a dip of form, sort of around January time, that's impressive, because he was really bad for me at some point. Gabriel Zemyarski also wins Young Players Player Award. He actually, again, he had a very good season like he did last year. Didn't play as much as he perhaps should have this year for some reason. Don't know why. I kept playing Josko instead. Second place Manager of the Year, Nikola Spasov of Sarko Salo. I agree with that, because every time we played them, we seemed to not do very well. So yeah, good job on Nikola. Second place, I will take it. 4 players are selected in the Bulgarian Team of the Season. Alan Cherry, Lujbas, Boshnovitz and Todor Nedlev. That seems fair to me. Top goal scorer goes to Dimitrov of Slavia Sofia with 17 goals. Then Karageran from Lokomotiv Plovdiv with 14. And then Todor Nedlev, considering he was a midfielder, that's like Matt Letizia numbers there. 13 goals. Because Alan Cherry was in the Team of the Year, he gets £5,500 as well. Fair enough. A couple more days have passed and we have our overall best 11. Now bear in mind, there was a season when we were in charge where we didn't pick any of the players, because number one name on that list there that I see is Fodor. He was awful. Whenever we played him, he was awful. That should be Christian Dobrev there. But Alan Cherry's in there, Zemyarski, Pergov, Boshnovitz and Bressel, Kotev and Moda, Nedlev, Shopov and Anton, and Fodor as the striker. I mean, we've had a couple of players that have joined that. Obviously, Sherry was one of our signings. Zemyarski, arguably, I don't think he would have played too much if we didn't do it. Boshnovitz is ours, Bressel was ours, Kotev is ours, Moda is ours, and yeah. So I think we've done alright so far. The end of season awards ceremony, then there is no real question over who's going to get Fans Player of the Year. It is Todor Nedlev with 76%, Zemyarski with 12, Dobrev with 8. That means there was 4% of people who voted for someone else. I mean, 76% is a massive majority. Nedlev getting himself goal of the season as well, which we will have a look at. Signing of the season is Dejan Kirkez. Sure, I'm not 100% convinced on that, but fair enough. Young Player of the Year goes to Gabriel Zemyarski. The team of the season, I'm going to question Tapsoba as the striker there. I don't get it. Sherry, Zemyarski, Boshnovitz, Kirkez and Bressel, Kotev and Moda, Vutov, Nedlev and Sheila all make sense. And then Tapsoba. He scored twice, once in the league. Why is that not Dobrev? What does Christian Dobrev have to do to get in the team of the season? Some stats as well then. Nedlev top goal scorer, Nedlev top average rating, Nedlev top assists. Best pass completion goes to Alan Cherry. I want to see that stat for not the goalkeeper. My guess is going to be Moda. I reckon he's done quite a lot of decent passes. Nedlev man of the match awards as well with 8. Lujbas with 9 yellow cards. And Antonio Vutov with 3 red cards. That's stupid. The moment you've all been waiting for, it's goal of the season time. It's Todor Nedlev. It's a free kick. Of course it was going to be a free kick. And a lovely cartwheel as well to celebrate. Season review. We were expecting to be fighting at the top end of the table, and we did just that. The moment to forget is definitely a moment to forget against Lokomotiv Plovdiv. It was a 5-1 defeat. I mean, that moment still lives on in my brain, because I was angry. I was really, really angry, especially when Nedlev got himself sent off after just 10 minutes. Right, listen up, team. Passionately, we're going to win the league. We're going to win the league. I think we can win the title. Some people don't think we're capable. Shopov, Dinev, Dimitrov, Sheila, Trifonov, Tapsoba, I agree, you're not capable of winning anything. Not even a header, to be honest. Bressel and Nedelchev. No, passionately, I disagree. We can win the league. That's exactly the sort of reaction, apart from the ones who didn't like it. Right, now the squad are going to go for their end of season break. We can now have a look at some of the players. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to have a look specifically at the players that we've signed. Not all of them, because there was a lot of players, but a lot of the players that we signed, just to kind of have a summary of how well I think we did transfer-wise. To be honest, I don't think it was good. So early on in the season, we obviously sold Stanislav Shopov to PSG. Didn't play a single game for them. He is loan listed. I did try and bring him back in January. Didn't want to come back. Don't know why, must hate us. So yeah, basically a lot of our transfer business was all off the back of this Stanislav Shopov deal and also our very good Europa League run last season. Let's start at the front then, shall we? Abdul Tapsoba. We brought him in from ASEC Mimosa for £220,000. He played 17 games in total, 8 off the bench, scoring twice. For a striker to score twice, that is appalling. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe it's his concentration. 5 concentration, not a good number for concentration. But yeah, I honestly, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a terrible signing, 10 being a good signing, or the best signing in the world, I'm going to go with a 3 for Tapsoba. Ramadani Mungwali, another player who came in the start of the season, played 4 games for us, scoring a vital goal as well against CSKA Sofia. He's one for the future. Let's not really talk too much about him. Apparently our signing of the season, Dejan Kirkez for £400,000 from Spartak. He didn't play anywhere near as much as he perhaps should have, and that's because he's considered a foreign player because he's from Serbia, which is a pain. So, as you probably know, we can only play 3 foreign players. It's normally Alan Sherry is one of them. Then we've also got, who else do we normally have? We have a couple of others as well. So Kirkez is normally the 4th foreign player on the list. So yeah, he hasn't really played a huge amount. I think since Dobrev got injured as well, it meant Tapsoba had to play. And obviously Tapsoba, being from the Ivory Coast, is, not the Ivory Coast, sorry, from Burkina Faso, is obviously considered a foreign player. Apparently we also signed Kirchev this season. Played 4 games, didn't really do a lot. Probably spent way too much money on him. Probably one of the best signings is Amadaj Bresel, signed at the start of the season, 18 games, just the 1 goal, 3 assists in the league as well, an average rating of 7.03 in the league. So I think he's been a good little signing for us. Probably should have played a little bit more, but Tin came in on loan. Tin was a good option. Probably should have stuck with my guns and stuck with Bresel. I don't think he's going to be sticking around too much longer, but Jarisa Lujbas, who joined from Sibalia from Croatia, a free transfer as well, I think he is going to be superb. I'm talking sort of Premier League level superb, so I don't think he's going to be sticking around. He does have a 5-year deal, which is good news, but there is it's like a £6 million release clause. There's a release clause in there. So 25 games for him. Didn't score a goal, did get an assist somehow. Actually did scored in the Europa League. Somehow managed to get an assist from central defence. I think he's a good player, still only 19 years old. Samir Nasri. Now, you might have remembered at the start of the season, he played a lot of football. 13 games, scoring 6 goals, 2 assists. Actually did very well. He just declined rapidly. I know he wasn't great aerially in the first place. Speed, physicality, mentality. He's not good in. I feel like he should be better with some of those numbers, but he just declined far too quickly physically for me. So that's why he kind of stopped playing. He's going to be leaving at the end of the season. A couple of teams did want him in January, but he didn't actually accept any contracts because clearly getting paid £5,000 a week to not play football in Bulgaria is something that Samir Nasri wants to do. Jakub Moda on loan from Lech Poznan. I think he had another good season with us. A 6.89 average rating, scoring a goal or 2 goals. No, it was 1 goal, sorry. Can we sign you? Are you interested in joining us? It's going to cost £4.6 million, so no. I think if we can, I'm going to try and loan Jakub Moda for a 3rd season, and I think by that point, chances are his contract might be up at Lech Poznan. He's got 2 more years left. Okay, but we might try and get Jakub Moda in because I think he's a good player. Another player, obviously, on his 2nd season-long loan at us from Lech Poznan is Pavel Boshnovitz. I think he's amazing. I want to sign him every year. He never actually wants to join, so let's try again. They accepted 925k. Right, I'm going to cancel that because I reckon I can get him cheaper. 25 games for Pavel this season, 1 assist, an average rating of 7.12. Again, another good season for him. The last of the permanent signings from the start of the season was Lovro Grajfona, the Slovenian from Maribor. I think for what we paid for him, which was about £400,000, I think we've got a good player here. He's not amazing, but for his age and for the league we're in, I think we're going to get a couple of years out of him. He's probably going to get replaced by the time he's 24, which is fine as long as we get our money's worth. And I think from this season, we're probably going to get our money's worth. An average rating of 6.97 with 22 appearances, 1 goal and an assist. First of 2 players then to join on loan from Dinamo was Tin. He was Jekyll and Hyde, wasn't he? He had some really good games, some really good moments. He also had some really bad games and really bad moments. So I don't think you're going to be coming back, Tin. And the same with Josko. He played 15 games, and I don't know why I started picking him ahead of Zemyarski, because Zemyarski is a much better footballer. Moving into the January transfer window then, Dalibor Tadijevich, £1.1 million, and he was rubbish. He's still only 18, he's only on a backup deal. I did kind of buy him with the intention of he's going to be someone for the future. He has been playing also regularly for the under-18s or under-19s and scored 11 goals. So it's not that he can't score goals, he just can't do it in the first team. Another player who cost 1.1 million was Marko Maric, the Croatian goalkeeper from Osijek. I think we overpaid for him. He had a couple of good moments later on in the season. 3 clean sheets out of 6 games. He did concede 8, 5 of which was in the Plovdiv derby, which, might have soured me on him a little bit. Also, did save a penalty. Janez Pisek is the final player we're going to mention, who signed also from Celje in January. He's good. He's much like Lovro Grajfona. He's still young. He's got a bit of time in him. He's an okay footballer. Probably should have played a little bit more than he actually did, but Grajfona actually kept him out of the team. I think maybe 2 years of Janez Pisek, he'll probably move on. He probably won't get much football at all, to be honest here, but he's a good backup option. Obviously, that is not all the players that we have signed. There are plenty of players on this list that I haven't mentioned at all. Most of them are kind of players for the future, like Gabor Grabant, like Luis Tizzi, Stoyan Rusev, players like that. But like I said earlier, I don't think we've had a particularly great transfer window. The best signings was Lujbas and Bressel, I'd say. Dejan Kirkes was a good signing, but didn't get as much football as he perhaps should have. Also, Yakimoto and Pavel Boshnovich. So basically, I'd say we made 5 good signings. We're now going to fly through some of the other players who we haven't mentioned. Obviously, we've been through Marko Maric. Alan Sherry was our number 1 goalkeeper for the season. 14 clean sheets, which is actually 2 more than he kept last season. For some reason, this guy, he just keeps doing well. He doesn't do anything spectacular, apart from against Ludogorets when he ballsed up, claiming a cross, we lose, and basically you cost us the league, Alan. That aside, let's calm down. That aside, good goalkeeper, very good goalkeeper, still only 23 years old. He probably will be keeping Maric out of the team as well. I'm thinking maybe a year or 2, Alan Cherry probably needs to move on, unless Albania joins the EU, which I don't know whether it actually does or not in this game. Moving on to defenders then, Gabriel Zemiarski is the first one we'll take a look at, the left back who probably played not enough football because, like I said earlier, we played Josko too much really. 21 games, 1 off the bench, 1 goal and 3 assists as well in the Europa League. He's one of those players where you look at his stats and you go, he's not good. He's not really a good footballer, but he actually performs consistently. 7.28 over 21 games. That's a good turnaround for a 20-year-old left back. Someone who's probably not going to be with us for too much longer is Radoslav Terziev. The 26-year-old Bulgarian only played 10 games in total, did score a goal, but basically because of Lujbas and Boshnovich and Kirkes, kind of became the 4th or maybe even 5th choice central defender. So yeah, Radoslav is probably going to be on the move. He's a very good player, just doesn't really fit in with us because we've got too many better players. Midfielders then, only really 1 player to mention from the central midfield position because all the other ones were new signings. Lashazar Kotev, the 23-year-old Bulgarian with 2 caps to his name, which have both happened this season, which is very good. He's played a lot more football than I perhaps realised. He's played 18 games, scoring twice, 4 assists as well, 6 games as well in the Europa League. He's one of those players that when I signed him, I didn't think he would be as useful as he actually is. I think the board are happy now with my signing because when I first signed him, they said, he's a waste of money. He's awful. I don't know why you're playing him. Kotev, I think, is a very good player. Moving on to the more attack-minded midfielders, Plamen Bakadziev is first up, the 18-year-old left midfielder. He kicked up a bit of a fuss halfway through the season saying he wants first-team football, and I went, sure, we'll give you some first-team football. He played in total, 11 starts, 10 off the bench. Didn't score a goal in the league, but did get a goal in the Europa League and a goal in the Bulgarian Cup as well. He's a very good footballer. He's 6'3". Physically, he's an absolute beast. Mentally, he's got some very good stats there. The 16 determination, work rate of 15 as well. Vision of 14 is pretty decent. Technically, not the best. Needs some technical ability to back up his mental and physical stats. The star of the team, Todor Nedlev, the Bulgarian Matt Letizia. He is a club legend, still only 28 years old, had a season of absolute magicalness, magnificence, words and such. 24 appearances, 13 goals in the league, 5 assists as well, 7 Man of the Match awards. He's just been good. He's just been really, really good. He did have a little blip halfway through the season where he kind of stopped scoring goals, which wasn't ideal. It was about the same time where Christian Dobrev got himself injured. But Nedlev is one of those players that You kind of want to keep him in your team, no matter how badly he's doing, because he is a club legend. He is a literal club legend. He is arguably our best player, 4-star current ability. I mean, physically, he's not amazing, but technically and mentally, he's bloody good. So, Todor Nedlev, let's hope you stick around for another couple of years, still playing at the highest level. Vasil Shopov, the Shopov brother, who's not a brother, who was hoping to fill the space left by Stanislav Shopov, didn't play as much football as he perhaps should have. 10 games and 9 off the bench, 2 goals and 3 assists, also scoring a penalty. Vasil, he's a good player, but he's I'm one of those people that the moment you hit about 28, I start thinking you're too old. Despite the fact that I'm 33, he's too old at 29 years old, so I might look at trying to sell him on. We have got a decent number of young attacking midfielders in the club as well, so maybe Vasil might be going. He's still worth a fair bit of money, so we'll see what happens. One of those young attacking midfielders is Dimitar Tonev, 19 years old, 12 starts, 7 off the bench, 2 goals and 1 assist to his name for this season. Average rating of just under 7 in the league. He's okay. He's not amazing at anything. Technically, he's alright. Mentally, he's alright. Physically, he's alright. He needs something behind him. He's the type of player, you know what, he's the type of player that I probably should be loaning out to like a Montana or a Barrow or a lower down top league side. But I think I tried that and nobody wanted him. The final midfielder we'll mention is Sheila, the 20-year-old Georgian right midfielder. He's kind of turned into a little bit of an underrated star for my team. Didn't play much at all in the first half of the season. Second half of the season, he suddenly turned up, scoring 4 goals, getting 1 assist in just 9 starts and 4 off the bench. Looking at his stats, he's got some amazing standout stats and everything else is pretty bad. Physically, he's really good at acceleration, agility and pace. Everything else, pretty bad. Mentally, he's got good decisions and flair and work rate. Everything else, really bad. Technically, amazing at crossing, dribbling and first touch and technique. Everything else, really bad. He's okay. I mean, he's the type of player that, realistically, if you're like a League One side in England, he'd be superb for you. Because I'm trying to get into like the Champions League, might need to not be playing him as much, because I don't think his 5-star potential, I don't think that's ever going to be a good 5-star, if you know what I mean. You probably don't. It doesn't make sense in my head, but 5-star potential for Botev Plovdiv does not necessarily mean he's going to turn into Cristiano Ronaldo. It might mean that he'll turn into, I don't know, like a Rory Delap. Moving on to the strikers then, only 2 really to talk about. Georgi Trifonov is the first one. Never started a game for us this season, never scored a goal for us, just 7 appearances off the bench. He's okay, probably needs to leave the club because don't think he's going to get into the first team anytime soon. Because Christian Dobrev still exists, he's not leaving. He does have a bit of interest from Napoli and Porto. Porto, by the way, won the Europa League. I'm hoping he doesn't leave. If we get an offer we can't refuse, and I'm talking £5 million maybe, Dobrev might be off. And if Dobrev goes, next season could be a massive struggle. Scoring just 9 goals in the league this season, 28 appearances, 9 goals, 2 assists, an average rating of just 6.9. Bulgarian Cup, he was amazing, scoring 4 in 3 games. Europa League, he was also good, scoring 2 in 8. He didn't actually play as well as I thought. I think his Bulgarian Cup and Europa League goals have kind of skewed his stats, because it says 15 goals in 39 games. It wasn't, it was 9 in 28. Just in case you're interested, this is the squad list sorted by current ability. So we've got 4 players who are 4-star. Alan Cherry, Nedlev, Dobrev and Jarisha Luzbas. We've then got a number of players on 3.5 as well. Marko Maric, Tin, Boshnovitz, Kirkez, Pisek, Grajfona and Plamen Bakadziev. Bakadziev is extremely high on that list for someone who, if I'm perfectly honest, he's been good, but he's not been amazing. Some of the players down the other end of the list then who are looking like they're going to be leaving the club soon. Thomas Sifka is definitely one, been out on loan. Obviously, Timotez Pachus, who's been on loan from Lech, is going to be leaving as well. Baltanov, want to get rid of him. Nasri will be leaving at the end of the season once his contract is up. Ventislav Kirchev, he's still young. Try and loan him out for another season. Dimitar Tonev, as I mentioned earlier, maybe he's not possibly good enough for us. I mean, he's good. I don't know. He's good, he does do some stuff, but Tonev might also be out of the door soon. Moving away then from players, moving to more how the club is getting on. Financially, we're in a good way. We've got £4.374 million in the bank. We've got a transfer budget of £2 million. I'm also spending some money as well. I'm spending about £800,000 on new players for next season. We are well under our wage budget. I'm trying to be sensible with money. Ignore the fact that I spent £1.1 million on a Croatian striker who can't score goals. I'm trying to be sensible with money. Obviously, we're going to be in the Europa League qualifiers next season. Hopefully, we can make it all the way through to the Europa League proper, which would be wonderful for our financial situation as well. Just looking at the club in general then, Legends is Todor Nedlev, as I keep mentioning. I don't think there's anyone on this list who is any of our players. Favoured personnel, Baltanov is on there, who is a current player who's probably going to be leaving the club very soon. Facilities-wise, this is one of the reasons why I actually picked Botev Plovdiv. I don't know whether I mentioned it, but facilities-wise, excellent training facilities, excellent youth facilities, excellent junior coaching and youth recruitment. So I'm trying to get the youth players through. That's kind of my end goal for this save. I say end goal, it's not. It's a goal for this save. It's to actually try and produce our own youth players and make Bulgaria a much better team from the national perspective as well as league perspective. Looking at the board confidence, which is, if I'm perfectly honest, something I never really look at. Competitions, they're satisfied. Matches, club structure, transfers and club philosophies are satisfied. Actually, club philosophies, irrelevant. Fair enough. Financially, they are delighted. Dressing room atmosphere, they are very pleased. Pleased with the managerial support and satisfied with the tactics. So overall, the board are happy with my existence in the club, which is good news. The final thing we're going to take a look at, and I said we're done with players, we're not done with players, we're actually going to have a quick look at the youth team. So, this is currently my under-18s. We did have a youth intake, it wasn't amazing this year. A couple of good players, but as you can see, we've got a number of players who've got reasonably high potential. Some, obviously, the top four there have very high potential. One of them is Dalibor Tadeušević. So, we've got central defender Todor Temeneliev, who, he looks good, he's getting better at football already. I mean, mentally, he's okay. He's okay. He needs his mental stats to increase, which they will because he's only 16. Physically, he's okay. Technically, pretty bad. But, 16 years old. He'll hopefully get better. The other 5-star potential player, however, is flipping good right now. Dobrin Bachkov, 17 years old, attacking midfielder. Physically, oh my word. Agility of 15, natural fitness of 16, stamina of 14. He's got some very high stats there. Mentally, looks amazing. Decisions, determination, flair, vision, work rate, all pretty high. Technically, he's got some good technical stats. Not amazing. First touch, passing and technique are pretty good. Everything else needs a little bit of work, but he's only 17 years old. I'm going to promote him to the first team next season because I think we need to have a backup for the attacking midfield options, and I think Bachkov is a decent backup. We also have this guy who I think came through the first youth intake of the save, so we weren't even in charge. But it's Nikolai Mihalov, who's 18 years old now, and he's good. 2.5-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability, so his potential maybe not so good. But he looks, finishing first touch and all that good stuff, he looks pretty decent. 15 goals as well in 25 non-competitive appearances. Knows where the back of the net is. Maybe Mihalov is going to get some games next year as well. We've also got some, obviously, in our under-19s as well. Some of these players perhaps shouldn't be in the under-19s, like Luis Tizzi, who is a player that we signed. He's amazing. He's really good. He's probably going to be promoted to the first team. Problem is, he's from the Ivory Coast, and we've got the stupid 3 non-EU rule. And I've done something also really stupid and bought 4 more African footballers. So, we're going to have a bit of a struggle with the whole foreign rule. Jose Figueira as well, also another player, 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. He looks good, needs a bit of competitive football, I think. That is going to do it then for this little season roundup. I say little, it's probably about an hour and a half. I have no idea how long this has taken, but that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I'll be back next time for our 3rd season in charge of Botev Plovdiv, and we need to be winning the Bulgarian league, because I'm getting annoyed with finishing second 2 years in a row.